Meghan, an actress, shows she can play a victim, and maybe she is. But of what or whom? There's an attraction between narcissism and victimhood.
Today, we're diving deep into what might be the most humiliating moment of Meghan Markle's public life, a moment that perfectly captures how far she has truly fallen from grace. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we bring you the most honest royal analysis you won't find anywhere else. Meghan Markle experienced a very embarrassing moment that she likely won't forget. On a Fox News show hosted by Greg Gutfeld, the host made a harsh joke that caused the audience to laugh loudly, which further damaged Meghan's public reputation. While talking about a criminal case involving a Louisiana man who accepted a specific punishment as part of his legal agreement, Gutfeld made a comment that will likely cause problems for Meghan's public relations team. The host said the man faced two options: accept the court's punishment or marry Meghan Markle. The audience laughed very hard. The show's panel found it very funny, and Meghan's reputation took another devastating blow. But before we continue, let me ask you this. When was the last time you heard Meghan Markle's name in the news for something positive? When was the last time she trended on social media for her charity work, her business success, or anything that actually mattered? The answer might shock you, because it's been a very long time. She became the subject of a national joke once again. Let's look at the clear facts. Meghan didn't become popular on social media because of her business, her charity work, or her social causes. She became a trending topic because a well-known television host said that marrying her would be worse than a severe punishment. This goes beyond just negative publicity. This is public embarrassment seen around the world. The video became popular online not only because of what the host said, but also because of how the audience responded. People didn't just laugh politely. They laughed loudly and couldn't control themselves. In American popular culture, mentioning Meghan's name now reliably gets laughs. This is a serious problem for someone who wants people to respect her. Think about what this means for a moment. We're talking about a woman who once walked down the aisle at Windsor Castle, watched by millions around the world. A woman who was welcomed into one of the most prestigious families on earth. A woman who had the opportunity to make a real difference, to use her platform for good, to become a beloved figure like Princess Diana. Instead, she has become something much different, a punchline. The audience's reaction tells us everything we need to know about where Meghan stands in American culture today. This wasn't a mixed reaction. This wasn't some people laughing while others felt uncomfortable. This was a room full of people who found comparison not just funny, but absolutely hilarious. That kind of universal laughter doesn't happen unless there's already a shared understanding, a common belief about the person being mocked. This wasn't a small podcast or an unknown comedian's performance. This was Fox News, the cable news channel with the most viewers in America. Millions of people heard Meghan's name connected to this harsh comparison. When major television networks make it normal to laugh at someone, that person's serious reputation is destroyed. Let's put this in perspective. Fox News reaches approximately 2.3 million viewers during prime time. That's 2.3 million Americans who heard this joke and, based on the studio audience reaction, probably laugh along. But the damage didn't stop there. The clip went viral on social media platforms. It was shared on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Conservative websites picked it up. Liberal websites wrote about it. Entertainment blogs covered it. International media reported on it. Within 48 hours, this single joke had reached tens of millions of people worldwide. And here's the most damaging part. It wasn't being shared because people were outraged on Meghan's behalf. It was being shared because people found it funny. People were tagging their friends, adding laughing emojis, and making their own jokes in the comments. With their business projects losing money, Netflix reducing their contracts, and Spotify ending their partnership, Meghan needed good publicity. Instead, she received public mockery that was seen by millions of people. Her public relations team's decision not to respond made the situation worse. People close to the situation say Meghan doesn't handle being made fun of very well. She wants people to love, respect, and compliment her. But in this case, she became the target of one of the harshest television jokes of the year. The joke was successful because the audience already thinks she is difficult to tolerate. And here's the most important point. This wasn't just about one offensive joke. It was about what the joke shows us, that Meghan Markle's reputation has been damaged across news media, entertainment industry, and what the public thinks of her. When even comedians and television hosts know that saying your name will make people laugh, your career and business are failing badly. This wasn't the first time Greg Gutfeld made fun of Meghan Markle. He has criticized her many times on his show, and each time people laugh more. That's a real problem for Meghan. She has become an easy target for comedy. Late-night television shows depend on simple targets to make fun of: politicians, famous people, and scandals. But here's what makes Meghan different from other celebrity targets. Most celebrities who get mocked still have supporters. They still have fan bases who defend them. They still have successful projects that remind people why they became famous in the first place. Meghan doesn't have that anymore. Her supporters have largely disappeared. Her projects have failed. Her charity work is barely noticed. Her speeches are ignored or criticized. She has become what every public figure fears most, irrelevant except as a source of mockery. The psychology behind why people laugh at certain celebrities is fascinating. Comedy works best when there's a shared understanding between the comedian and the audience. When Gutfeld made that joke, he was confident that his audience would get it, would find it funny, would agree with the underlying sentiment. And he was right. When television hosts mention Meghan's name, they know the audience will immediately start laughing. This doesn't happen because the jokes are particularly smart. It happens because the audience already thinks she is foolish. Gutfeld's harsh joke was successful because it connected with an opinion that most people now share: Meghan isn't taken seriously anymore. Instead, people make fun of her. Once a famous person becomes something people automatically laugh at, the harm to their reputation cannot be fixed. Consider Paris Hilton in the early 2000s, or Lindsay Lohan when she had personal problems. Meghan has become like them, someone people expect to laugh about. And this mockery won't end anytime soon. But there's an important difference between Meghan and those other celebrities. Paris Hilton eventually rebuilt her image and became a successful businesswoman. Lindsay Lohan has had moments of comeback and redemption. They both acknowledge their mistakes and work to change public perception. Meghan, on the other hand, seems unable or unwilling to admit that anything she has done might have contributed to her current situation. She continues to present herself as a victim, continues to blame others for her problems, continues to act as though the world simply doesn't understand her true worth. We should remember what Meghan originally presented to the world: the image of someone who fights for women's rights, helps people in need, and was treated badly by the royal family. She wanted people to see her as someone who would stand up for women and minorities, but what actually happened was very different. Her lifestyle brand failed badly, with people making fun of it as just a way to make money from her expensive neighborhood. Her Netflix shows didn't do well, with reviewers saying they were too fancy but had no real substance. Her public talks became the same repeated complaints about being treated unfairly instead of messages that inspire people. Let's examine each of these failures in detail, because they tell the story of how someone with every advantage can still manage to lose public support. The lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, was supposed to be Meghan's big comeback. She had learned from her previous business mistakes, hired the right people, and was ready to show the world that she was a serious entrepreneur. Instead, the brand became a symbol of everything people dislike about her: the pretentiousness, the high prices, the disconnect from ordinary people's lives. The products were overpriced and underwhelming. The marketing felt forced and artificial. The whole enterprise seemed designed more to generate headlines than to actually serve customers. People saw through it immediately, and the mockery was swift and brutal. Her Netflix documentary series was supposed to establish her as a serious filmmaker and storyteller. Instead, it came across as self-indulgent and tone-deaf. Critics called it boring, self-serving, and out of touch. Viewers complained that it was more about Meghan feeling sorry for herself than about any meaningful subject. The Spotify podcast deal was supposed to showcase her intelligence and ability to conduct meaningful conversations. Instead, it revealed her limitations as an interviewer and her tendency to make everything about herself. Spotify eventually canceled the deal, reportedly because Meghan and Harry weren't producing enough content, and what they did produce wasn't attracting enough listeners. This is why jokes like the one Gutfeld made work so well. They show the difference between how Meghan sees herself and how the public sees her. She wants people to think of her as the next Princess Diana. But more and more people see her as a spoiled, famous person who used her royal connection for personal gain and then failed to succeed when she had everyone's attention. Maybe the most important reaction to this controversy wasn't the laughter. The response was silence. The Hollywood celebrities that Meghan counted on to make her brand look legitimate didn't say anything to defend her. Oprah, who gave her one of the biggest interview opportunities ever, remained quiet. Serena Williams, who Meghan said was a close friend, offered no support. Even Tyler Perry, who let Harry and Meghan live in his expensive house, didn't publicly help her. Why did this happen? Because people in Hollywood understand something that Meghan doesn't realize. Having a good reputation is like having money. It's valuable. Right now, Meghan's reputation is worthless. Supporting her publicly doesn't help your career. Instead, it hurts you. So the people who used to support her are now staying away from her. This silence from Hollywood is perhaps more damaging than any joke or criticism could be. When celebrities are attacked, they usually have friends and allies who come to their defense. They are people who speak up for them, who remind the public of their good qualities, who provide context for their actions. Meghan has none of that anymore. The silence from her supposed friend sends a clear message to the entertainment industry and the public. Even the people who know her best don't think she's worth defending. Her embarrassment isn't just happening in front of everyone. She's also going through it alone. This isolation makes the situation even worse, because it confirms what many people already suspected, that her relationships in Hollywood were always more about what she could do for others and about genuine friendship. Survey results in both the UK and US show what we can see happening. In Britain, very few people approve of Meghan anymore. Her ratings are often worse than royal family members who have been involved in serious scandals, like Prince Andrew. In America, which she thought would be a safe place for her, fewer people like her now. Let's look at the specific numbers, because they tell a story that's even worse than you might expect. Recent polling in the UK shows Meghan's approval rating at just 23%, while her disapproval rating sits at 68%. To put that in perspective, Prince Andrew, who has been embroiled in scandal for years, has an approval rating of 8% with a disapproval rating of 83%. The fact that Meghan is only doing slightly better than Prince Andrew should be shocking. Prince Andrew has been associated with serious criminal allegations and has essentially been banished from public royal duties. Yet Meghan, who was supposed to be a breath of fresh air for the royal family, is barely more popular than he is. In America, the numbers are equally troubling. A recent survey showed that only 31% of Americans have a favorable view of Meghan, while 58% view her unfavorably. Among key demographics that should be her supporters, women, minorities, young people, her numbers are declining. Perhaps most tellingly, when people are asked to describe Meghan in one word, the most common responses are negative. Fake, attention-seeking, ungrateful, and divisive top the list. When your own target audience can't find positive words to describe you, you have a serious problem. This explains why Gutfeld's harsh joke didn't surprise anyone. It didn't make people angry. Instead, people laugh because the joke matched what the public already thinks about her. Many people see Meghan as tiring, demanding, and fake. When people laugh at someone instead of supporting them, it shows that person has lost all respect. This television moment represented something bigger. Meghan Markle left the royal family because she wanted to speak for herself and be heard. But now, instead of people listening to what she says, they just laugh at her. She attempted to change her image and become a successful businesswoman, someone who helps others, and an important cultural figure. Instead, she has become something people make jokes about online. The harsh joke may have been mean, but it revealed something true that Meghan won't accept. People don't take her seriously anymore. Every time her name becomes popular on social media, it's not because of something good she did. It's because people are making fun of her. Once you become the person everyone laughs at, you can't change that. Think about the irony of this situation. Meghan left the royal family complaining that she couldn't speak for herself, that her voice was being suppressed, that she needed freedom to express her authentic self. She got that freedom. She can say whatever she wants, whenever she wants, to whoever will listen. But here's the problem. Fewer and fewer people want to listen. And when they do pay attention, it's not because they're inspired by her message or interested in her perspective. It's because they are waiting for the next thing to mock, the next reason to roll their eyes, the next opportunity to make a joke. The woman who wanted control over her narrative has completely lost control of it. The woman who wanted to be taken seriously has become a punchline. The woman who wanted to inspire people has become someone people laugh about behind her back. Her business projects Netflix deals, and Hollywood relationships are falling apart. Fewer and fewer people approve of her. Even the people who used to support her aren't saying anything to help her now. And now she has been compared on live television to something terrible. For Meghan Markle, this isn't just public embarrassment. It's the complete loss of people taking her seriously. The business side of Meghan's collapse tells its own story. When she and Harry first left the royal family, they were seen as a hot commodity. Streaming services were interested in their content. Publishers wanted their books. Speaking bureaus were booking them for high-paying appearances. Brands were eager to partner with them. That gold rush is over. Netflix has reportedly scaled back their involvement with the Sussexes. Spotify canceled their podcast deal. Book publishers are less enthusiastic about their future projects. Speaking fees have dropped dramatically. Brand partnerships are harder to come by. The reason is simple. Meghan and Harry aren't delivering the audience that these companies expected. Their Netflix shows haven't been major hits. Their podcasts didn't attract enough listeners. Their public appearances don't generate the kind of positive buzz that justifies the expense. But more than that, there's a growing sense that association with Meghan and Harry might actually hurt a brand's reputation. Companies are increasingly cautious about attaching themselves to controversial figures, and Meghan has definitely become controversial. When a joke like Gutfeld's can get such a huge positive response, it tells businesses that a significant portion of the public has negative feelings about Meghan. And businesses don't want to alienate potential customers by seeming to endorse someone those customers dislike. So what does this situation mean for the future? It means that Meghan Markle's story is no longer about changing her image. Now it's about trying to survive professionally. She can try to change the story in her favor. She can take people to court. She can create as many expensive publicity campaigns as she wants. But people making fun of her has become the main story. In the media business, once you become someone everyone laughs at, you don't get better. You slowly disappear from public attention. And here's the hard reality. Meghan Markle didn't become popular on social media this week because of her social causes, her business, or even her relationship with Harry. She became a trending topic because a Fox News host made a harsh comparison about her, and millions of people found it funny. Consider what this means. Meghan left the royal family so she could control her own story and speak her truth. But now she has no control over her story at all. The future looks challenging for Meghan in several ways. First, she's running out of second chances. The public has seen her fail repeatedly, and people are less willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. Every new project she launches will be viewed with skepticism. Second, she's lost the novelty factor that initially made her interesting to media companies. When she first left the royal family, everyone wanted to know what she would say, what she would do, how she would use her freedom. Now we know, and most people aren't impressed. Third, she's facing a generational shift. Younger audiences, who might have been natural supporters, are increasingly turning away from traditional celebrity culture. They are more interested in authentic voices and genuine causes and in polished public relations campaigns. Fourth, she's competing in an increasingly crowded marketplace. There are thousands of influencers, activists, and entrepreneurs trying to capture public attention. Meghan doesn't have a unique selling proposition anymore, and her reputation problems make her less attractive than many alternatives. The news media decides what story gets told. Comedians choose what jokes to make. The audience decides what's funny. And their decision is obvious. People don't respect her. Instead, they make fun of her. The fact that Hollywood celebrities stayed quiet proves this. Nobody defended her. No famous friends were willing to risk their own reputations to protect her. Meghan has been left without support, deserted by allies, and laughed at by people around the world. But the more important question is, can Meghan ever come back from becoming someone people just laugh about? Once the public starts making fun of you, once you become the joke rather than the news story, is it possible to recover? Or is this the time when a carefully planned Hollywood comeback finally fails completely? The loss of narrative control is perhaps the most devastating aspect of Meghan's current situation. For someone who has always been focused on managing her image, who has hired multiple public relations firms, who has carefully crafted every public appearance, the idea that she can't control what people say about her must be terrifying. But that's exactly what has happened. The jokes write themselves now. The criticism comes from all directions. The mockery has taken on a life of its own. Meghan can't stop it, can't redirect it, can't manage it. This is what happens when you lose the public's trust and respect. People stop listening to your explanations. They stop giving you the benefit of the doubt. They stop caring about your side of the story. Instead, they create their own narrative about you, and that narrative is usually not flattering. Now I want to know what you think about this situation. Was Greg Gutfeld's joke just regular comedy that doesn't mean much? Or does it show how much Meghan's reputation has really gotten worse? Do you think Meghan can still fix her public image? Or is this the start of her losing all respect? Share what you think in the comment section below, and be honest about your opinion. This is one of the most embarrassing public moments of Meghan's life, and everyone is paying attention. If you think the laughter has finally shown the truth about Meghan Markle, click the like button so more people can see this video. Remember to subscribe because the story isn't finished yet, and more royal problems are already starting to happen. But before you answer those questions, let me give you some more context about why this moment matters so much. Let's be realistic. This situation wasn't only about Greg Gutfeld himself. It was about what his joke represents. When a popular television host on one of America's major networks can easily include Meghan's name in a harsh joke and make the whole audience laugh loudly, it proves something important. Making fun of Meghan had become normal and acceptable. A few years ago, Meghan was protected from criticism. News reporters were careful about what they said. Hollywood celebrities respected her. Even people who disagreed with her were afraid to criticize her too much because they worried about negative reactions. But that time is finished. The protection that Meghan once enjoyed came from several sources. First, she was new to the royal family, and there was a honeymoon period where people wanted her to succeed. Second, she was seen as bringing diversity to the monarchy, and criticizing her felt like criticizing progress. Third, she had powerful allies who were willing to defend her. All of that protection is gone now. The honeymoon period ended long ago. The diversity argument has been weakened by her own actions and statements. Her powerful allies have either abandoned her or decided she's not worth defending anymore. Now, comedians aren't scared of her. They use her as material for jokes. Television networks don't avoid talking about her. They focus on her as a target. And regular people don't support her. They laugh about her instead. This is the major change that Meghan never wanted to happen. Once the world decides you're someone to laugh at, everything new you do just gives people more reasons to make jokes. If she starts another business, people will make fun of how expensive her products are. If she gives another public speech, late-night television hosts will criticize what she says. If she tries to act like a victim again, audiences will get annoyed and not believe her. The shift from protection to mockery happened gradually, then suddenly. For a while, Meghan was still getting mostly positive coverage, or at least balanced coverage that presented both sides of any controversy. Slowly, that began to change. More critical stories appeared. Fewer defenders spoke up. The tone of coverage became more skeptical. Then came the tipping point, probably around the time of the Oprah interview, when many people felt that Meghan had gone too far, had been too harsh toward the royal family, had made claims that couldn't be verified. After that, the floodgates opened. Criticism became more common and more harsh. Jokes became more frequent and more pointed. Now we're at the stage where making fun of Meghan is not just acceptable, it's expected. Comedians know they can get easy laughs by mentioning her name. Television hosts know their audiences will respond positively to criticism of her. Social media users know they can get likes and shares by posting negative comments about her. Here's the hard truth. Meghan Markle isn't controlling her own story anymore. She's lost that power. And the worst thing is that she can't undo the fact that people laugh at her. Once you become a joke, that's what you remain. The cycle of mockery is self-reinforcing. The more people laugh at someone, the more acceptable it becomes to laugh at them. The more acceptable it becomes, the more people feel comfortable joining in. The more people join in, the more normal it seems. Eventually, mocking that person becomes part of the culture. We've seen this happen to other public figures throughout history. Sometimes they can break out of it through genuine accomplishment, sincere apology, or dramatic change. But often, once the cycle starts, it's very difficult to stop. For Meghan, the challenge is that she doesn't seem to understand how she got into this situation, which makes it unlikely that she can get out of it. She continues to blame external factors, the media, racism, the royal family, unfair treatment, rather than examining whether any of her own choices contributed to the problem. Until she can acknowledge her role in creating the situation, it's hard to see how she can change it. The public has heard her explanations and found them unconvincing. They've seen her behavior and been unimpressed. They've watched her projects and been disappointed. So what can Meghan do now? Is there a way back from becoming a national punchline? History suggests it's possible, but it would require fundamental changes that she seems unwilling or unable to make. First, she would need to disappear from public view for a significant period of time. The constant attention, even negative attention, keeps her in the mockery cycle. If she stopped giving interviews, stopped launching new projects, stopped making public appearances, people might eventually forget why they were laughing at her. Second, she would need to do something genuinely impressive and meaningful. Not another lifestyle brand or podcast, but something that demonstrates real value to society. Something that helps people in a concrete way. Something that shows skills and accomplishments beyond self-promotion. Third, she would need to show genuine humility and self-awareness. She would need to acknowledge that some of her past decisions were mistakes, that she has learned from them, that she understands why people were disappointed. She would need to stop playing the victim and start taking responsibility. Fourth, she would need to find a way to be useful rather than just famous. Fame for its own sake is increasingly unpopular, especially among younger generations. People want to see that celebrities are contributing something valuable to the world, not just seeking attention and money. The problem is that all of these steps require Meghan to admit that she has been wrong about important things, and there's no evidence that she's willing to do that. Her public statements continue to focus on how others have mistreated her rather than on what she might have done differently. This story is about more than just Meghan Markle. It's about how quickly public opinion can turn, how celebrity culture is changing, and what happens when someone misreads a public mood. The speed with which Meghan went from beloved to mocked is striking. Just a few years ago, she was one of the most admired women in the world. She was seen as bringing modernity and diversity to an ancient institution. She was praised for her intelligence, her activism, and her style. Now she's the punchline of jokes on national television. The transformation has been remarkably fast and remarkably complete. This should serve as a warning to other public figures about how fragile public approval can be. The story also illustrates how celebrity culture is changing. Audiences are becoming more sophisticated and more skeptical. They are less impressed by fame for its own sake, and more interested in authentic accomplishment. They are less willing to give celebrities the benefit of the doubt when their actions don't match their words. Social media has accelerated these changes. Information spreads faster, opinions form more quickly, and public sentiment can shift dramatically in a very short time. For celebrities, this means that managing public perception is both more important and more difficult than ever before. We can't discuss Meghan's situation without considering how it affects the royal family and her relationship with them. Initially, there might have been hope that she and Harry could eventually reconcile with the family, that time would heal the wounds, that a compromise could be reached. The current situation makes that much less likely. The royal family is extremely image-conscious, and they are not going to want to be associated with someone who has become a figure of public mockery. They have their own reputation to protect, and that protection requires keeping their distance from people who might damage their standing. This creates a feedback loop that makes Meghan's situation worse. The more the royal family distances itself from her, the more it confirms public suspicions that she was a problem in their relationship. The less access she has to royal prestige and connections, the harder it becomes for her to maintain relevance and respect. For Harry, this puts him in an impossible position. He has to choose between loyalty to his wife and reconciliation with his family. The worse his wife's reputation becomes, the more difficult that choice becomes. The media's role in this story is complex. On one hand, Meghan has legitimate complaints about unfair coverage, especially in the British press. Some of the criticism she has received has been excessive, unfair, or tinted by prejudice. On the other hand, media coverage doesn't happen in a vacuum. Journalists and commentators respond to public interest and public opinion. If audiences weren't interested in negative stories about Meghan, those stories wouldn't get published. If audiences were more sympathetic to her, the coverage would be more sympathetic. The fact that negative coverage of Meghan generates more engagement than positive coverage suggests that public opinion turned against her before the media coverage became overwhelmingly negative. The media followed public opinion rather than shaping it. This is important because it means that changing media coverage alone won't solve Meghan's image problems. She needs to change public opinion first, and that's much harder to do. While this analysis is focused primarily on American and British public opinion, it's worth noting that Meghan's reputation problems are not limited to those countries. International polling shows similar patterns of declining approval in most Western countries. In Canada, where she lived for several years while filming Suits, public opinion has turned negative. In Australia, where she and Harry had a successful royal tour, recent polling shows more people view her unfavorably than favorably. Even in countries where she has no particular connection, awareness of her story has generally created negative impressions. This international dimension makes her situation even more challenging. If the problem were limited to one country or one media market, she might be able to find refuge elsewhere. But when the negative perception is global, there are fewer places to hide. So where does this leave Meghan Markle? What does her future look like? In the short term, she's likely to continue facing mockery and criticism. The Gutfeld joke was just one example of what has become a regular occurrence. Until something changes dramatically, this pattern will probably continue. In the medium term, she faces a choice. She can continue trying to maintain her current level of public profile, which means continuing to face this kind of treatment. Or she can step back from public life and try to rebuild her reputation more gradually and quietly. In the long term, her legacy will probably depend on what she does next. If she can find a way to contribute something genuinely valuable to society, if she can show real growth and wisdom, if she can move beyond the current controversies, she might be remembered differently. But if she continues on her current path, she risks being remembered primarily as someone who had every advantage and squandered it, who left a position of respect and influence to become a figure of mockery. The story of Meghan Markle's fall from grace is ultimately a cautionary tale about the dangers of misreading public sentiment, the importance of authentic accomplishment, and the speed with which reputations can be destroyed in the modern media environment. It's a reminder that public approval is earned through actions, not words, and that once lost, it's extremely difficult to regain. It's a warning about the dangers of playing the victim when people expect you to take responsibility. It's an illustration of how quickly allies can disappear when association becomes a liability. Most importantly, it's a demonstration that in today's world, no one is too famous, too privileged, or too protected to become a punchline. The internet and social media have democratized mockery. Anyone can become a meme. Anyone can trend for the wrong reasons. Anyone can go from hero to joke overnight. For Meghan Markle, the question now is whether this is the end of her story or just a very difficult chapter in a longer narrative. Can she find a way to move past this moment and rebuild her reputation? Can she learn from her mistakes and become someone people respect again? Can she find a path forward that doesn't involve constant conflict and controversy? Only time will tell. But based on current trends, the outlook is not promising. Before you go, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this situation? Is there a way back for Meghan Markle, or is she past the point of no return? Have you noticed this shift in how people talk about her? Does this change how you view celebrity culture and public reputation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and your perspectives help shape future content. If this analysis opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, smash that like button to help more people see this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell because the royal drama never stops, and neither do we. There's always more to uncover, more to analyze, and more truth to tell about the people who think they're above criticism. Share this video with anyone who's been following the Meghan Markle story. They need to see how far this has gone and what it means for the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video with more honest analysis you won't find anywhere else.